Hello my friends, we have some interesting news. This morning Russia lost the huge oil storage in Sevastopol city. As it was reported by media, Ukraine launched the drone attack on that facility. But again, the official version from the Ukrainian side is that Russians continue to smoke at the wrong places. And that causes the damage for the Russian military infrastructure. And this was the main oil storage for the Russian Federation, I would say, in Crimea. They have the other one, but it's quite far away, so now they will be unable to refuel their ships. Yes, the other video shows that there are some reservoirs that haven't sustained the damage. But it's just the visual part of those tanks. They also sustained the heat damage, and also there were lots of the pipelines that were burned out, not speaking about the electrical part of this facility. And as it was reported, the refueling mechanism is unable to perform its job. And let me show you the facility itself on the Google map. So here we have the main harbor over here, and this is the Kazacha Bay. We have the airfield over there, it's not very large, and this is the main oil facility, which is a little further compared to the main harbor, so ships go there and refuel. Also, there is the railroad coming from this facility, and Russia refueled their ships using those big tankers on the railroads. Or they basically dock over here for the refueling of the ships. From the video, I may say that the majority of those tanks were completely demolished. About those 6 big tanks on the south, it's the big question whether they were damaged or not. The second storage that they have is located in Kerch itself, so there are some tanks as well, and they were building more. But it is really far away from the Russian Marine Fleet, which is based in Sevastopol. And we all know that the Kerch Bridge was cut and Russia is unable to fix the railroad connection with their mainland. It means that they simply cannot provide the good fuel supplies for their marine fleet in Sevastopol using the railroad. There are 2 alternatives for them: to use the public road across the Kerch Bridge, which is the simple road, and they can only send the lorries refueling trucks, but those are not enough to refuel the ships. Or they can try to cross the Kerch Channel using the ferries, but it is not optimum because it depends on the weather really, and sometimes ferries cannot travel for many days. So today's interesting firework in Sevastopol totally ruined the supplies for the Russian Marine Fleet in that bay, in that harbor, it's better to say. About the attack direction, it could have been conducted from the sea over here, from the air obviously. Russia put their defense, but it seems like they were not ready for this sort of the attack. And they claim that it wasn't the Ukrainian-made drone, it was the China-made drone. As you can see, China in some way supports Ukraine. Still, I think that Russia may have some additional refueling facilities in Sevastopol, but those will be not enough in a long-term perspective. It is very important for Ukraine because Russia uses their military ships to attack Ukrainian civilian infrastructure. And I guess we'll see many more of those cases in Sevastopol and on many Russian bases in Crimea and on occupied territories. Alright, one more case, this time on the Russian ammunition facility, but before we go to it, let me tell you about the sponsor and the partner of my channel, the Atlas VPN. They've decided to make a huge deal, especially for my subscribers and viewers, and this time it's just $170 per month with 6 months for free, and totally you'll have 85% of discount. It is the outstanding discount for my followers because they have it just for the Black Fridays or for the Christmas deals. But today you can easily get the best VPN out there, and let me tell you why I think that it's the best one. You may hear that English is not my native language, so I constantly studied. How I study, I just basically watch the Netflix series, and some of them are not available in my country. That is why I switch on the Atlas VPN to watch my favorite series. With Atlas VPN, you simply don't have any limits or any kind of restrictions. Atlas VPN may help you to avoid the price discrimination, so by changing your virtual location, you may purchase, for example, airline tickets with a great discount. Atlas VPN is blocking annoying ads, it restricts the government access to your accounts, and also you are unreachable for hackers. awesome. So please follow my personal link in the video description just below, and you'll have the Atlas VPN Premium for astonishing $170 per month plus 6 months for free, and totally you have 85% of discount. This is the outstanding deal, especially for my followers. So this is the place in the Perm city of Russia where they produce the artillery shells and the rocket shells. The fire is not very significant, but still it looks interesting. The more the Russians smoke at the wrong places, the better it is for the Ukrainian army. Obviously, the production of the shells will stop at that particular factory for a known period. Alright, we have martyrs on the training. Those were filmed in Ukraine. We have the long column of them, that we have the same pyramids as Russia uses in their defense lines. So for sure our guys are getting ready for the counterattack to conquer the Russian defense. I think we got around 60 martyrs. I'm not sure about the particular number, but still you can see that the soil, yeah, hello, the soil is quite wet over there. Our guys are happy because this is a very convenient infantry vehicle compared to the Soviet-made BTRs or something. After the fire in Sebastopol, people start to leave the peninsula, and there are lots of the queues on the way out. The Kerch bridge capacity is now limited because it was damaged and partially restored. But Russia cannot build the railway part, and the factory that used to build those parts was also damaged by the drone, I think during the winter time in February. And Google confirms that there is the traffic jam. Plus, one of the Russian government planes left the Sebastopol airport in Belbek right after the oil storage fire. So yes, people are leaving the peninsula for now, and it's just the beginning. Because some of our allies are working to provide Ukraine with the long-range missiles up to 300 kilometers. They've created a special fund, it calls the Defense 24, and the United Kingdom is leading with that help for Ukraine. Also, there are other countries that participate that deal, but the major help comes from the UK. So now they're working on the optimum solution to support Ukraine with. For sure, those will not be the ATACMS rockets, but there are many alternates. And it seems like the South Korea have decided to supply the ammunition to Ukraine because they continue to speak about it. They say that they are looking at the situation and also looking for the possible variants to supply Ukraine with. Right, it seems like we have some sort of the confirmation from our military intelligence that it was really the drone. At least this image shows that it was the drone out there, probably the second one, because you have the data, the altitude, probably the speed, and the GPS signal, which is quite weak. And let's cross-check it with the Google Maps, so just remember those small reservoirs over here. Here we have 9 of them. 3 were totally demolished, and here and here and here and here we have damages to the tanks. Let's zoom into the facility, and definitely it's truce. So those battles over here, I mean tanks, were completely lost for Russia, and those were under severe heat because of the huge fire and the fuel inside. I don't think that you can use it afterwards, and probably there was the second attack of the second drone if we see that picture provided by the Ukrainian intelligence. So probably Russia lost everything of that. And about the message, you can clearly see the GPS signal, alert, and fly with caution. That's what I can read from this message. Also, it's hard to read the other parameters, but the altitude is clearly 126 meters. So yes, if those pictures were provided by our intelligence, for sure it was the drone attack. Pakistan sent the manned pads to Ukraine. Those are Anza Mark II. They're able to hit the air targets with a range up to 6 kilometers. Well, it's good because we need those systems, and recently Latvia said that they will send all of their Stingers to Ukraine. The senators from the Democratic Party are pushing the White House administration to supply the F-16s fighter jets to Ukraine. And today in the media some of the articles appeared saying that many of the countries are willing to train the Ukrainian pilots. Also, the Ukrainian Air Force Command today said that they've selected the pilots with proper experience and good knowledge of the English to start the training on F-16s. They say that the new type rating will take several months but less than 1 year. Our pilots are very talented and most of them already knew the F-16s in theory. They were able to find the aircraft manuals and they've built their own flight simulator, so they're getting ready. Strange, but all of the self-propelled artillery systems that were delivered to Ukraine from Italy are not ready for fight. The artilleries are M109Ls. It's not the big problem. With the proper maintenance, we can make it ready to fight very soon. And also I think that Italian military will just go to Ukraine to fix this problem. I shared this one on my Telegram today, but firstly I was able to find it on the Russian resources, and they're screaming that it's the big betrayal of Ukraine by Italy and allies, that they're sending their crap vehicles to Ukraine, blah blah blah, but it's not true. Yes, they should have been prepared better, but it's not the disaster. And in general, the help that we have is much better than the Russian old T-55 tanks. But Russia finally got the military support from China with vodka that is produced in China. You can see the letters in Chinese, and the bottles are in plastic to make it cheaper. So you can see VZ, all what they love. According to the Bild media resource, the Ukrainian special forces are on a training in Germany to conduct the special operations in offensive. They're on a training to find far behind the front lines to attack the facilities on the Russian-controlled territory. Alright, Prigozhin again, he gave the interview to one of the pro-Russian media resources. It could be just the misinformation from his side, but anyways, what he says is very interesting. In his interview, he declared the ultimatum to the Russian military command and personally to Shoigu. He said that without the proper ammunition supplies, the Wagner forces will leave the Bakhmut city and will go back to Africa, where they fought before. On a question to interviewer whether Wagner forces will go to fight in Moscow, Prigozhin said that the idea is interesting, but Rublovka, it's one of the luxurious places in Moscow, is not interesting for him. Africa is better. It was 1 hour and 20 minutes interview. I listened to it, but in general I must say that he complains about supplies and that the Russian military command is basically in lack of competence. He says that the only capable source in Russia is the Wagner army, but the Russian military bureaucrats are destroying it. And he confirmed that with that approach, Wagner army will vanish very soon. And also he says that the Ukrainian future counterattack will be successful. So we witnessed the big confrontation between the Russian regular army, between FSB and Wagner army. Again, it could be the disinformation, but from the articles I read from Strelkov, the war criminal, from Wagner, and also from the regular Russian army supporters and military bloggers, I may say that this conflict really exists and it intensifies. And the future for Russia is not really bright. There could be the civil war between those clans on the Russian territory. In that case, Ukraine will return all of the previously taken territories by the Russian army. And that is what Ukraine is looking for, getting ready for the new massive counterattack that will happen for sure. President Zelensky today said that they will postpone it a little because lots of the information leaked to the press, but again Prigozhin said that he is sure that Ukraine will start the counterattack till 15th of May, he said this time. The only problem for Ukraine nowadays is the weather. And here we have the video of the drone. Russia claims that this drone was shot down over Crimea. This is the Migun 5 drone that you can easily purchase on Chinese markets. Yes, it looks the same as on the video, and the price is 9,499. Very cheap drone for its capabilities, because the flight time is over 7 hours and the payload is 25 kilograms. And compare this price with the price of the Russian oil storage in Sevastopol. Just a quick update on the military map. What we have is the update situation in the Bakhmut city. Let's go for it, and what we have is that Russia moved closer to this last district that Ukrainian army still holds. So it was yesterday and it is today. So they've took those buildings recently. As Prigozhin said in his interview, Wagner's moved by 130 meters. But for sure it's the last success for the Wagners, and maybe Ukraine will go on a counterattack in Bakhmut as well. It depends on the situation and supplies. But still, unfortunately, I expect this city to be occupied fully by the Russian forces in May. But finally, we're gonna liberate everything. So my friends, now press the like to this video, and please don't forget to check my personal link in the video description below for the Atlas VPN Premium. Today you may have it for just $170 per month with the 6 months for free, and together it's 85% of discount. It's astonishing, outstanding deal that is only available for my followers. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.